Get evidence-based medication. If you feel like you have a loved one that might be in crisis, if you feel like you have a child that might need some help, you take them down there, no appointment necessary, and we can help them and get them on the pathway to recovery through methadone, Suboxone, Sublocade, all proven medications that will help people on that path to recovery.
And then my follow-up being that while there still is services available then at the Sheldon that you're going to put in place instead, some people worried about antisocial behaviour in the area, but it's a site of attraction. If that's where the services are, that's where people are going to congregate. What do you say to maybe residents who are apprehensive about living near a service like this?
Well, I think the residents have been very vocal that, very, very vocal, that we're not interested in having this in their community. Again, we have to work with the residents, and we have to understand, as I have stated many times before, that addiction itself is a neurobiological illness that requires medical treatment. And we're trying to treat this like the illness that it is and making sure that people have the pathway to recovery. So when we talk about removing all barriers, I think people need to understand removing all barriers, we remove the costs. So anywhere else in North America to get recovery treatment, you're talking in the thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars, to the point where, people are, either don't have the money to do it, or families have to mortgage their homes or sell personal properties. We don't believe in that. It's a mental health, it's an addictions issue that is a healthcare issue. We're going to get you the help that we need. He touched on this, and I could probably talk for a half an hour on this, on the success stories. And maybe if given the opportunity, another question, I would love to talk about how I have seen people who have either lived on the street for extended periods of time that maybe have felt thrown away, or young people who really had relegated themselves to being, gang members, or people that are in perpetual states of pain and suffering, and how they have reached out to me saying, "Minister, thank you," and they are getting their lives back. So again, no one single solution to a very complex problem, but I can tell you that the recovery-oriented system of care is working, and this is why we constantly call it internationally recognized, because other jurisdictions around the world are wanting to copy what we are doing.
Next question on the floor here.
Tim Brooks, CTV. I've heard about organized crime today. Obviously, there's a very toxic drug supply. Pardon me. What I haven't heard about is safe supply. So what's your plan to make sure that the drugs that people are using are safe?
Well, there's no such thing as a safe drug. I don't know who's telling you there's such thing as a safe drug. If that was the truth, then they would have no issues in British Columbia where they are doling out hydromorphone to all of the addicts. You have to understand something. And this is understanding addiction. So addicts want we call it the good stuff, right? So when there is a drug that you call toxic, I don't call toxic, because all drugs are dangerous. But let me just use your terminology. Is that if I was to call it a toxic drug, and it is something that is killing people, that becomes desirable for an addict. They consider that to be the good stuff. They're not dissuaded by that. So what we observed for people that were handing out hydromorphone is that was a bit of a bridge until they can get what they call the good stuff. And so safe supply is a failed policy. It doesn't work. It's not something that we're going to do. And this is why we're seeing other jurisdictions that are even thinking about it or trying it, pivot away from it.